What's up, baby? What's up, baby? We back. ODD, BA. Throw up your double L's. You know what it is. If you haven't, if you know but you don't know, I'm your boy MARC to the JAY, holding it down for the one time on the sports tip. You know what we do, talk all ball, man. We work our way out from Louisville to Kentucky to the national scope. Gotta start local always. Gotta start from the inside of the Uh, we'll start our way with layups, then mid range, then 3-pointers. You feel me? Got to warm ourselves up. But no, I appreciate it. Everyone who's been supporting, uh, picking up subscribers, picking up listeners. Uh, appreciate a like, rate, review, subscribe. I know a lot of people jump from our iPod material. We got some new material out. I think I'm going to drop the articles we've been working on for Steady for his review for Bill Legend, a great album. That's a good episode. Go back and listen to. We'll have him jump on maybe next week just to talk about Post. We have a great interview with Cash Money and Southside Mike, both in back-to-back weeks. One's a producer, one's an artist. They've done music together, songs like Guns and Butter. One Take, he had a song with One Take, Southside Mike does, called Sold It All. We're just kicking it, man, talking about their journeys, where they've been, and they're both very interesting people and very positive people, man, no matter what their lives have thrown at them, and like a beautiful kinship, especially Cash Money, on just, love and affection for your brother, you know what I'm saying? Just who's passed, and has some crazy stories about those, and just it's really worth a listen. I know we bring up music and that's what we start with, but these are some really good people too. Like I said, appreciate y'all again. Let's get to it. Hope y'all have a great Super Bowl Sunday. Y'all stay safe, have a good time, cook some good food, enjoy yourselves. We'll get to that on the back end. U of L Wake Forest. I don't know. Some people, we went down the stretch with an 11-11, now 11-12 team. That was a quad one, but it's going to be a quad two. A win's a win on the road in the ACC. I'm not about to start with that. So appreciate the effort though. Are we a Duncan team now? Else, I haven't seen. I didn't know we had it in this. I ain't gonna lie. I joke called Sananda the big red fruit, like Clifford the big red dog, because my man, he's like a big puppy out there, and bull, and I'm like, boy, if you don't just go dominate and just go mug somebody, push them out the way, you 22. Such a I don't like to judge people based on age and their development, especially big men too. But I'm like, come on, he showed it. An aggressive start by everybody, actually. Not named Michael and Ryan. I thought we didn't overcomplicate it. I thought we've been getting out to slow starts. We got out to a fast start, and I think part of that is because I don't know, we play within ourselves and we play within our opportunities, like our scoring opportunities. We took the shots that they gave us. Javon Hadley, quick five. But in the past few starts, I feel like we've overcomplicated it, like overpass, trying to find a shot. I know it's something we've been working on because I can just tell, shot selection, even though I still question Michael and Ryan's at times. But I guess when you can shoot that well, it is what it is. But McNeely gave us good play early. I mean, the shot's been looking really good. I think not even the shot, just the the fluidness of from catch to release. No, I don't know. That's just me. And then Kanai, besides a play or two early, I'm like, because I'm so hard on Kanai. I heard Maven say something about this where he's like, every time he does something good or something like that, I'm like, nah, I'm harder on you. You know what I'm saying? Like, you do something good, and I'm like, nah, that would be an A for somebody else. I'm like, nah, that's a maybe a B for you, because you should be going harder than that. You know what I'm saying? But no, the team feels different when he's on the wings making a difference. We missed Javon last game, so maybe that's something too. But them two together, rebounds, intensity, that's where I'm like, how are we the second best I'm pretty sure they said we're the second best rebounding team in the ACC at 40 a game. But it feels like our big men are not the ones who are contributing. So it's just like, just from best standpoint, it's just like, thank goodness for their intensity. And our guards do a good job. We do a good job group rebounding. I'd be mad that we can't throw oops. Like, I'm not lying. I'd be mad that we can't throw oops. I mean, I can't believe we threw like an actual, like, well-timed one from Michael to Fruit. It's Michael, but I mean, it's also Fruit too. Still in the first half, but I thought Wake was playing like a like a football team early, ready to hurt somebody. You know, when the other team's more talented and you gotta, be over physical and you know, do your best to nullify those advantages that they have. That culminated when Michael Brown went to the rim. Oh no, dude, was it zero? He was cold. He was nice. I gotta admit, he's nice. He plays hard, but yeah, Michael, I feel like this is a point maybe that play brings up a bigger point, which is he just hasn't been himself. I don't know if it's still the back spasms. I don't know if, he's getting back in shape. And you know how when you get back into game shape again and you get fatigued for a second and then you kick it back into gear. I don't know if he's going through that. I don't know if it's the freshman wall. I don't know. But he's been off in comparison to, I don't know, that first game he came back and gave his 20 and 29 minutes and blah, 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 even though he had those 5 turnovers or whatever. But him and Ryan have both kind of been off. And thank goodness that our wings, Kanai's been back. Kaysen has played well. Relatively everyone else has played well. So McNeely. So that's just something to look out for, especially since 4 of our next, we'll get to that in a second. Our future schedule seems, we have 4 out of 5 that are going to be quad 1 games in our next. So I see progression, but there's some tests coming up. But we play like the most aggressive and better team, I still thought. And we had them to 34 points in the first half. And I thought we played very well. But overall, our defense, I thought our defensive efforts maybe like a B plus, right? We were tied together. I thought they did that well. But I still like the effectiveness of our defense, like especially in the second half, of course, it goes downhill for me, which will lead us maybe into the second half. But I still think our effectiveness, I'd give it like a B minus. I don't know what it is. For me, that's just me. So let me know what you think. But then going into the second half, this is one thing about our defense. Like, we're progressing, right? We're progressing. But we still only play one half of focused defense is what I'll call it. The second half, offensive rebounds and 3-pointers is what kept them in the game. And it, many times, even in the first half, to segue, dude, we should have pulled away. That's why I'd be like, I give our effort something, but our effectiveness, like, why were we not pulling away? When we seem to pull away, then we get a little sloppy, turn the ball over a couple of times, give some open looks and give offensive rebounding opportunities. That feels like the great equalizer when it comes to why are we not in a game where it felt like we could have beat them down, why we didn't beat them down. Pause. But but finally threw a good start second half. And then that defensive lapse, that's why I'm glad Pat called that timeout at, what was it, like 17:23 early. I'm like, that shows also to me like a shift in focus. So I think we were still up like 9 or 8 points. For me, that's like kind of Rick Pitino. It's like, nah, we ain't starting this way. Nah, I don't care what the score is. It is about the focus and and the actual execution. You know what I'm saying? So then we come out with a great out of bounds play, McNeely splash. So with Kanai and Javon, Javon, right after that, gave us a tough and one. He was giving us some tough twos down there, man. And then the thing with them also on defense is, why were they getting those simple like back cuts? Like, I understand maybe they are good screeners, but if I'm looking at the team, I'm like, you can kill them all day with this. Like Woolley maybe turned around not looking at the ball at all, like able to see, or it's just small thing. It was just the miscommunication. Just I think it was Zoo had one. So, and then excuse me. And then what is it? I guess since Kaysen's back, I like that we did press and things like that. Him and Kanai at the top make a difference. Looks totally different if you go back and look at those games when we were on that West Coast strip and we were doing a little press. And I thought it looks different when you don't have that athleticism and length at the top. And then Kaysen's 3. Oh gosh, that's one for the books right there. Shout out Kaysen. Segue into him. Oh, and then I thought we just finished the game well. Despite everything that went on, I think that's one thing. I can't remember if we maybe missed a free throw or two, but thought we finished well. Thought we executed well. Thought we found ourselves in good positions. A lot of that, and Sanad to help. Shout out Sanad. So shout out Big Fru. Shout out him and Mike Hill's kind of They still, within all that, because Michael had 8 assists. Nice connection, man. They got a nice connection, for real. So, yeah, nice. Upcoming schedule, February 9th, NC State. That's home, 7 p.m. Maybe I'll try to catch that one. Quad 1. Then Valentine's Day, Baylor, neutral site, Fort Worth, Texas, 4 p.m., Quad 1. Then, hey, this is going to be a tricky one at SMU. I expect Pierre Jr. to play better. I don't know if that point guard is going to play as well. A little boozy. But besides that, I think that's going to be a tricky game. Then versus Georgia Tech at home, 2:15. Might try to catch up on too. February 21st. Expect to win, but they can fight like a Wake Forest could fight, and especially if we give up a bad half of defense. And then at North Carolina, Chapel Hill, February 23rd, where anything's possible, where there's ceilings to roof in that muff. Nah, it's fine. But, I mean, before we get into the women's, we can hurry up and talk about the UNC Duke game. Very interesting. It basically played out the first, 35 minutes how we all thought. Lockdown, I thought Boozer, may have got fouled on that on his last attempt. I mean, North Carolina, they banged all them threes, you know what I'm saying? That was a great drive, getting downhill, kicking it out, into the open man for 3. And then as soon as they started storming the court, I was thinking to myself, bro, there's going to be time on this clock. Like, y'all really going to let them do this and whatnot? And then Shire talking about that people were getting punched and stuff like that. I'm like, I'm starting to turn old Manny on that. I'm not going to lie. I'm not, after seeing that, I'm like, I'm not going to lie. I don't like it. I wouldn't like that if that was my team. We can make fun of Duke because a lot of us don't like Duke, but that's not funny. Because he's right, anything can happen. It's not about the court storming. And he said it himself. He said, just wait till we get off or protect us or whatever. Like, y'all can do that, but there's got to be more rules on that. And I'm pretty sure Filipowski, something happened to him when he was, that's probably why Shire had the, response that he did too on top of that. They need to listen to John. I think they need to listen to John on that. What else we got? The women. Man, good game against Duke. I knew Carol Lawson was going to have her team ready. I can't stand because she's good. I would like if she was on our team. But Fournier, I knew she was going to be a boss. I talked about this before. Our women have hybrid bigs to me. And Ziegler, Boogaloo, Anaya, she's a mechanical engineer who's mechanically engineered. She's code. Randolph, tweener. You know what I'm saying? So, and they don't really have a certified big man, but I felt like they were dogs rebounding. Like, they were dog. Like, we got to box out better. But first quarter derailment. That plagued this against UConn. That plagued this against Kentucky. And I can't remember. Sorry. This game. Maybe it's just this. So, Duke jumped out to a huge lead early. That you had to fight back at home, which you did. Tightly contested fourth quarter, but you just can't expect to play a really good team and to be able to always come back. Barry missed a free throw, but she's hit 2 free throws to send us to overtime and win at NC State. I'm not necessarily tripping about that. Good experience for a player who I feel like needs. She's a huge component to our success, to the ceiling of our team. So those early starts, man, I don't think we necessarily played bad. Or we played competitive. We played a bad 6-minute stretch to start the game. We can't do that against good teams. We've done that over and over, and that's the only reason we've lost as many games as we lost this year, honestly. UConn, I don't think we would have beat them. Kentucky, we should have beat. This game, we should have won. So we should only have 2 real losses based on that specific. Get them together, Walls. Get them together, Jeff. I know you will. I know you're going to be intense as hell in there. No, nonetheless, I still feel great about our women. Shout out Taj. Shout out Ziegler. Shout out. There was a lot of big shots in that game. I just, thought they played hard. It's just, that was the only thing. So shout out our women, man. Let's see. Let's get to UK. Man, I thought UK was going to fumble that one. Man, I thought they fumbled. I thought they had already fumbled it. I think they fumbled it, then Tennessee fumbled it, and they picked it back up and ran it back. I think it was one of them kind of joints. So, but that was at Rupp Arena, Wildcats 74-71. Kentucky had a Louisville-esque first start. Tennessee jumped out early, 14-point lead by halftime. It was 47-33. Native Mint and the little point guard, they were on fire. Native Mint had 29 career high. Look at you. 19 of it was in the first half. But they shot well from deep early. I think they had 8 threes. I mean, yeah, that, I don't know if Kentucky's defense was lackluster yeah. But y'all got to admit, this is just a quick note kind of deal. He tripping on Mark Pope, right? People be tripping on Mark Pope. Yeah, be tripping on Mark Pope, right? I ain't really ever. We don't give things time. So, in that sense, this is my bone to pick, right? Louisville and Kentucky fans both. We know basketball. We're smart fans. Don't tell us this. Don't tell us that. Okay, maybe you are smart, but what about the emotional intelligence? Y'all don't have more emotional intelligence than Mark Pope. I can tell. I can really tell by your emotional responses to the things that you supposedly love the most. If you love it the most, you treat it like you love it the most. You just don't, I would hate to be in a relationship with a lot of y'all if that's how, you treat something that you love the most with such vanity at times. You don't know what he's doing. Get him out of there. You know what I'm saying? I don't feel like you're a true fan when you act like that. I feel like you are in a partnership with your university that you support. I'm just keeping it a buck. I don't like that. I really don't. That's not cool. You know what I'm saying? That's not support. Keep it a buck. You can be right. That's cool. That's cool being right. But being right, is it worth, because at the end of the day, this is my point. Give Mark Pope all the credit now. Give him all the credit. Give Mark Pope all the credit. Adjustments. Weren't y'all mad Cal didn't make adjustments? Nah, man. I ain't trying to hear all that. Y'all have a chance to play for being number one in the SEC next week, against Florida. I don't want to hear all that. That's just the way I feel. I'm keeping it a buck. So, it is what it is. No. Grit outscored Tennessee 40-24 in the second half. Did the opposite of Louisville. Played a great second half defensively. 0 threes by Tennessee. And then Colin Chandler, who, has shown a little clutchness in this June. Splash a 3 with 30 seconds left to put UK ahead for good. And then Aberdeen icing up with free throws. So, and then Tennessee did have a last chance at the buzzer. And that bad boy was on point. It just rimmed out. So, but part of that second half surge was Oweh, man. 21 points. Denzel Aberdeen, 16. Malachi, 10. I like Malachi. And then Native Mint led all scorers with 29. Jacoby Gillespie had 15. And then I think Bishop, Boswell, and Estrella both were in double figures. Those are your best players, but that's just the way I feel. But huge comeback win, 14 points, down 14 points, beat a ranked opponent, regain momentum in the SEC, 8-3 in the league, completes the overall sweep at Tennessee. So that's what's up, man. Tough loss after leading most of the game for Tennessee. Second collapse of this season against Kentucky. The 4-game win streak ended, and the late game execution remains in question. I could give half and half to the late game execution, but at the end of the day, it was a 41-24 second half. I'm not gonna put on late game execution. I'm gonna put it on an avalanche. Feel me? So yeah. Let's see, what else do we have locally? Shout out to Tyler Shelf, Rookie of the Year. I need to bring back a clip we talked about, but I was basically I don't see talent-wise who in this class is really better. There's pure talent to making all the throws. I like how he stands in there and he has just enough escapability to get out and then make a throw on the run, which he does pretty well as well. So I'm just talent-wise, I don't see who is really just purely more talented than my dog. So shout out to my instincts for one, Tyler Shelf's heart for two, the Saints for finally kicking Spencer Rattler to the side for three. And ESPN ranking them as the number one rookie class. Shout out to Quincy Riley. So shout out to the two U of L dogs for leading that. I don't want to hear nothing, baby. Put on for the city. Put on for the Saints. I try to tell people that Saint emblem, the fleur de lis, there's power in that. You feel me? Synchronicity or something. I don't know what people have. And before we get off the NFL, the Green Bay Steelers, Mike McCarthy. People ask how I feel. Y'all know how I feel. I'm a Steelers fan through and through, so I'm gonna support my man. He's a Pittsburgh guy. I tell people he won at an organization that supports winning, and he did not win as much at an organization that doesn't seem to support winning as well. So we support winning here in Pittsburgh, so we'll see. I'll take Aaron Rodgers for another year. I don't care. I heard somebody talk about Kirk Cousins. So I'm like, so what do we just want guys who like can only take 3 to 5 step drops and the guy to get the ball out to the first or second read and can't really move type thing? So we want to dink and dump our way to it. I'd rather have Will Howard just play. So I heard that report and I'm like, gosh, what are we doing? Old man central. Mike McCarthy's already like 62. People thought, we were going to go for a younger guy. I guess my thing would be, which I agree, because we're like a build, stay with you, long-term longevity kind of thing. I agree with you. But at the same time, felt like that they didn't have their guy that they wanted. The young guy, you know what I'm saying? So maybe McCarthy's just a transition kind of guy. I don't see him going past 2030. That's just me. We'll see. We'll see if I stay on that prediction. If we hurry up and win that before, this is just a weird story. Rakea Jackson, right? Baller, the WNBA plays for the Sparks, went to Tennessee, I'm pretty sure. Like, she's cold. She's a scorer for real. Maybe been one of the top rookies at that class. I think she came over with Caitlin, so I can't remember. Oh, my gosh. Guess she's in a relationship with James Pierce from the Falcons, or was, or something like that. I don't know, messing around, allegedly, you feel me? Allegedly on like all this stuff, but apparently he like stalked her and then police chased him and he crashed his car or some stuff. I'm like, what? So come on, man. I don't know what in the Chris Brown he was on. Hey, I need to get your mans. Allegedly. I don't know all the details. And then if we want to stay on WNBA tip, hurry up. They've been negotiating. And I was surprised that the players' union, when they're negotiating this new CBA, let them take housing out just because the season's so short. I'm like, bro, I'm not about to stay here this whole time. I'm gonna need some housing stipend because I'm on the road half the time and my seasons is short. Like, what are y'all on? So I'm glad to see that was thrown back in. Just a quick hitter before I leave, since all that was all scrunched together in my mind. I had to get it out. Segue. I'm gonna say this again. If you have not gone, go listen to Ville Legend. Ville Legend, man. It's a beautiful work of art album by our boy Study, man. Nice article on our Instagram. I'm gonna put it on our YouTube page that we did on him and the project. Just so representative of, it's like a dark ride down Broadway or something. It's like I don't. It's like I could see it being a play. As weird as that sounds, like I could see it literally being a play of like his life. So it's really dope. Work of art is hip hop bluesy. Some people say he's J. Cole or something like that. I don't know. My man's code though. Man. It's a worthy listen. Let me switch over and back into sports. Winter Olympics. Before we keep going, while we keep I said local, then national, blah, 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 but let's go ahead and get into it. Lindsey Vaughn. So we know at the World Championships, she tore her ACL. Somebody said ruptured it or something. I'm like, geez. And then she's like, no, I'm going to the Olympics. I'm skiing. Everybody's like, you wild. Well, she was the 13th skier of the day and was chasing American Breezy Johnson, what the hell of a name that is, who posted the top time, Jackson Hole, Wyoming native. She gave us our first gold medal. So shout out to her. But yeah, Lindsey Vaughn crashed, dude. One of her poles clipped the net and she went airborne, dude. And I had to airlift her. So that's I knew it was bad news when when she was like mind over matter with nothing in my knee in a sport that puts so much impact on the knees. Coming off them jumps and you're landing and you're going, 60 miles an hour and just, hey, what do I know though? 60, 80, whatever they're going, flying. So get well soon, Lindsey Bond. Shout out Breezy though. I said, hey, Young Breezy. What do I want to say on the Olympics? Haiti, right? This is just interesting. Just thought. So Toussaint Louverture, I hope I said that right. The famed Haitian leader who led the revolution, established Haiti as the first Black republic. Which, for people who don't understand why that is such a big deal, is because Haiti was the leading exporter at the time. Like, it exported it was basically the most money making producing exporter at the time. So when that's why it hit so hard for them. That's why, not even lying, it was like, hey, we need something different. This slave stuff ain't working no more, just money wise. So we're gonna need to do something like industrial revolution. Just keeping it a buck with you. Corporations, new slave fields, and we can get away with a lot more. And that was before this is before they had labor laws and stuff. So blah, blah, blah. Before I go too far, we're back on Haiti and their designs. And their designs, they originally had him sitting on a horse, right? The Olympic Committee said this was a violation of the rules against political imagery on uniforms. So as a result, they took him off. They left the horse. So when you see that red horse on there, which actually the artist, I'm sorry, I don't know your name. It's a riderless horse. They put that as the powerful symbol, its image. That's why you see that. That's in reference to the revolution. So shout out gang. Shout out Black History Month. But I just find this kind of, I don't know if these are directly comparable, but in the Sochi Games, Ukrainian athletes wanted to wear black armbands to honor protest victims at the time. While the IOC didn't outright ban it, the National Committee and the IOC officials advised against it, pushing athletes to find other venues for expression. And also, Haitian Revolution was against the French, and the French were kind of the founders of the modern IOC, but neither here nor there. NFL Super Bowl. Let's get to NFL Super Bowl. Patriots Seahawks. You know what it is. I'm a Pittsburgh fan, so we don't want them to get that 7th Super Bowl up in New England. So obviously, we're going for the Seahawks, which that should feel good for them because we took a Super Bowl from them. Detroit's big boy. M. Darnold, though, I would like to see him get a Super Bowl. I think Drake May's really good. I think he's really good. I agree. I think he's really good. I think the Seahawks defense is good. We both have good defenses. I think it'll be a really good game. That's all I want, really. I don't really have a breakdown of the game. I was on Abdamo or someone on here, but I'll be honest. It's such a Disneyland of football that I'm in it for, commercials and halftime. And you know what I'm saying? I'm in it to enjoy it. So let's see. Tom Brady. After initial backlash saying he's neutral, he doesn't have a dog in the fight, which is interesting. Hall of Fame snubbing Belichick and Kraft. And I don't know if it has to do with I guess it has to do with, their wrongdoings, the Deflategate, things like that. But I think it's some of the craziest I've ever seen in my life. I ain't gonna lie to you. I don't know if they don't like Robert Kraft. I thought they never did from the beginning, but at the same time, I'm like, dang, what is it? So there's something interesting to think about. But yeah, Tom Brady said he finally put his support behind the Patriots. Did it on social media, so, I feel him though. It's like, nah, I want to be the Thanos. I don't want nobody else to get a ring, organization without me. So, what a hater. What a competitor. That's what they call him. What a competitor. What a hating ass. What else, man? Let's do some prop bets, man. Will Seattle attempt to pass from the 1 yard line? Never. Not with Kenneth Walker. No. So, will the Patriots linebacker catch a pass? Ooh. I'm going to go with yes, but an interception, maybe. We'll come back. We'll spin the block on that one. Total touchdowns over, under. Good defenses, right? 3 touchdowns. If the over-under is 2.5, let me know what you think. I'm going over then. Will there be a non-offensive touchdown? Offensive or special teams TD? No. Will there be a successful 2-point conversion? No. Which celebrity fan is shown first on camera? Tom Brady. Will Stephon Diggs propose to Cardi B during the game? Shut the hell up. No. Hell no. Hell no. Might pull out some pink powder. Anyways, mention of famous Sam Darnold sing ghost remarked by commentators. Yes, I feel like during the game, no. I'm going to go no. I'm sorry. I'm going no. First Bay Area landmark shown on TV. Golden Gate Bridge, right? I mean, it's got to be, right? Anyways, will there be a successful flea flicker or trick play? Yes. Trick play, yes. I'm going with that one. All righty. Hope you enjoyed the prop bets here at the iPod. Sponsored by 35KY Sports. Nah, I ain't gonna put him on there allegedly. I ain't gonna put him on our gambling stuff. I'll be like, dang. Feds might run up on him. Shout out 35KY Sports, man. Go follow for all Louisville content, man. He really does have it on lock. Shut up, my man. Shut up, Mark. Only other thing I wanted as for Black History Month, we're the iPod, we're oddball, intersectionality, sports, Black history, and locality and the localness of it, right? I want to ask y'all if y'all ever heard the story about the Louisville Unions, Louisville's lost Black baseball powerhouse. The Louisville Unions were a semi-professional African-American baseball team based in Louisville, Kentucky, that played during the 1908 baseball season. Well, that's from what we know. It may have been more than a decade before the formal Negro Leagues, though, were organized in 1920. They were discovered only recently after their history had nearly vanished from the record. So in 2018, curators at the Louisville Slugger Museum bought some old photos, baseball photos that were thought to be in the 90s of a Negro Leagues team. But the curator noticed small clues like the letters LU on the jerseys. And there was a bourbon distillery in the background that didn't match what people believed. So by enhancing the faded writing on the back of the photographs and comparing it to landmarks visible in the photos, including what they said, Sunnybrook Distillery Company, it was at 28th and Broadway, Haley was able to pinpoint when and where the photos were taken and then dig into old newspaper archives. Then began the rediscovery of the Louisville Unions, a team that had been lost to history, despite being a very real part of Black baseball. Newspaper accounts from 1908, especially from the Louisville Courier Journal, described the Unions as one of the best Black baseball teams in the South. The record was 24-3, or they won 24 out of 27. I don't know if they tied any. They faced a mix of teams, which was unusual at the time because of Jim Crow. They played other Black teams from the region, but also white semi-pro and amateur squads. And even at the time, I guess this was in the articles, some of the white teams had recruited extra pitchers when facing the Unions to increase their chances. So it showed, the talent was respected. So, but the home field, man, was right there at 28th and Broadway. I don't know if it was, you feel me, the mall. I don't, where the Kroger is. I don't know where it was at, but the park was sometimes called Unions Park or Old League Park. And the period accounts. So the field had earlier been a part of Louisville's broader baseball landscape. It was connected to early ballparks used by professional teams like the Louisville Cardinals. So, but of course the story takes place in the deep Jim Crow era, when segregation defined nearly every part of public life, schools, transportation, restaurants, and more. Yet baseball fields became rare spaces where Black and white players could interact on the field, if not in society. One of the 1908 scrapbook articles even notes that in some games, there were grandstand seats preserved for white spectators only. So it showed, the enforcement of the segregation, even in shared spaces. Although the Negro National League didn't start till 1920, teams like the Unions were part of a growing movement of Black baseball teams that laid the groundwork for what would become a major cultural and sporting institution. In fact, in 1908, Louisville leaders were part of early discussions with other cities about forming a league for Black ball clubs, which was a precursor to the formal Negro Leagues. So the story, though, was almost lost entirely. The photos were purchased, used, and misidentified and nearly sat in archives forever. it took an eagle-eye curator like Bailey and old newspaper archives to bring it back. So now the museum has held exhibits like the best Black baseball team you've never heard of that highlight both the team and broader pre-Negro League history that mirror that of our Louisville Unions. I'm, I'm gonna need a Louisville Unions jersey. That's what I heard. So shout out to just to the stories, to the people who find them, and to history that's never lost. It's such a beautiful thing. If you haven't, if you haven't heard our episode on the iPod with Miss Charlene Holloway, who marched with Dr. King, who was arrested at 13 for um, fighting for our rights here. So that's good, man. And I think on the iPod today, if y'all want to tap in with our next episode, we're going to talk about Jackie Robinson. If this interests you, check into our next one. Uh, Jackie Robinson and Paul Robeson. I've been wanting to talk about that for a while, just haven't had the space. We've had guests on, but that's the intersectionality that we definitely want to have to a conversation about that. Trying to think, man. I appreciate y'all, man. I appreciate y'all always tapping in. Love, we growing. We're creating this community, this our community, man. Leave a like, leave a comment, man. If tell me something you like, you don't like. I'm not above or beneath nothing, like for real. So appreciate y'all one again, man. Have a fun Super Bowl. Cheer on your teams. Remember what I said about being a real fan, emotional intelligence, keeping it steady, relax. Green Bay Steelers signing out.